We need to get ourselves a little recovery truck as well to start pulling them back.
Yeah, but we get a winch.
The aim for this section is to give it a new lease of life. What we can see here is obviously all with the surface corrosion. If we leave that any longer, that is going to start eating away and reducing its actual job, which is to protect if it wasn't an accident. So what I want to do is clean all of this off, sand it back. So we're going to use as a grinding disc like that, and that's going to take off the surface and make that fairly smooth. What I don't want to do is too much heat into it, distort it, and I also don't want to take too much of it away to weaken it. So what we're going to do is take this off, sand it back, try and get it smooth, and then what we'll move on to a flappy paddle which will smooth it off. Then we can etch primer the entire thing. It's a shame it's too big for our shop blasting cabinet, because it would be lovely to put that in. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. On here, you can see where it's partly started to eat through to the panel. What we're trying to do is stop this from rusting even more. So that's like the stage I want to get it to for now, because then what we can do is move on to what is over the back there, just like a flappy paddle. And then this is quite abrasive, but also if you're not careful with the grinding disc on that, it can add too much heat and distort it, which we don't want to do. So I'm going to do on here is then use like an 80 grit after I've done that, and then use this, and that'll come in nicely, and that should make all this surface nice and smooth. And I'm in the high vis because I don't want to get too dusty, and that's the only thing I've got today. So you've got the what do you call this?
Bradley Special.
Bradley Special. Did that penetration stuff work, Josh? No?
Good touch it.
Oh. Worth it, but not worth it. Try that one, just see if it goes in there for now.
It won't be long enough.
No, just stop it from falling down.
Yeah.
I do.
That's all. Fuck it.
Yeah, I want to get all the bolts.
Up.
Yeah, but I don't want to take...
Huh?
Yeah, Tony dropped some off earlier. What I don't want to do is mix them all up and we go, well, where the fuck were they from? Because that is from that area there. You start throwing them all in the bucket. You've got...
Do you know what you need to do?
Yeah, go on.
You need to get yourself some sandwich Ziploc bags and you can write on.
Do you want to get some?
No, because I'll figure out where they go.
Huh?
I just throw them all in a bucket.
No, I'm not sticking them all in a bucket because they might not be the right bolts for where they should go
Although
to.
if you don't put them all back in, it's weight reduction. The silver one is minus 1,000.
Yep.
It's nowhere near, because every time Brad looks at it, we're taking something else off.
Yeah.
We've not finished anything yet.
That's not true. Done the brakes in the front.
Yeah, we still got to undo most of that to do the front subframe. So minus 1,000% on the silver one,
Okay.
so nothing's finished on the silver one.
At what point on this line would we say, right, it's drivable but it's not ready?
When you see it off the ramp.
Yeah.
Off the ramp.
When it gets off the ramp, it can go for a drive.
It was drivable when we put it on the ramp.
And then brakes.
Yeah.
It was drivable now. But thing is though, now we like got the bits off, you start to notice more. So like bumpers, and like they're off, that just adds in more time.
Yeah, you got to decide now whether we go every single panel and then get the bumpers painted and sprayed and all the dinks and dents done, or do we cost effectively skim all the dents and put a shiny wrap on it?
Currently, we're taking the old rear brackets for the bumpers, putting them in the shop blasting cabinet, thanks to Tony, who's given us, who's donated his old shop blasting cabinet, sandblasting cabinet. There's variations of mixtures you can get. Currently, we just got some sand that we got given. Before, we were just using a die grinder and a flappy wheel on a grinding disc, but the whole workshop, you should see down there, is just literally covered in so much rust. So at the moment, this is not only quieter, because we're not using a grinding disc everywhere, we couldn't actually get into all the little bits with the die grinder either, so where all the small particles of sand at high pressure take away the rust. So we're going to revive them. So almost that's currently where I'm at, taking that bit back, and we're turning that into that basically. So we want to get all into those rusty bits. By doing that, we're taking away the rot that's going to just eventually form. So this is a subframe piece before going in the sandblaster. After 5 minutes, this is how it's come out. I'm sure you'll agree, this is a night and day difference. The trick with that is to not go too thick on it. Do like more coats of it, let it dry, and then come back and redo more coats.
Is there anything you think you guys can do today that would get the silver car back on here?
No.
Nothing remotely to get it near the road.
There's so many pieces off and so much more to come off it. We'll probably take it from that position, out the door, downstairs, and put it on the silver car.
Yeah, anything else we do today is basically bring it to there. So that's where it's at in a minute.
I've got to remember not to stand there.
Well, let's just put it on the sofa. And then it's got to go from there, because we're basically going back every day. We're going back because we're sanding more bits, like even like the front slam panel, front cross member, that's come off. That's been sanded back to bare metal and etch prime.
Yeah, half of that's still across the ramp. All the bits that come off it.
Most of it's in your hair.
Once retail's done, we're free.
Yeah, because we're balancing all of this work around the workshop. And we need to get the ramp back because we're doing, well, I say we, I mean Ant's actually doing like bits on the floor.
Yeah, I'm not built for the floor.
So we have a van for MOT failure, brake hose rubbing on under tray, and transmission mount is non-existent. The customer had already had 2 new drive shafts. The chap who'd done the drive shafts told him about the engine mount, but not rectified it. And then I am trying to release wonderful Ford locking wheel nuts. So I've had success with a couple. So there's 2. Someone kindly done 1 already and left 3 more left. So I've got the 3rd one out, just trying to release the tool. And then that's got to have a tyre and a puncture. And then that one's done. Got another failure outside because why not have them all in one day? We've got a little Corsa that needs a multitude of bulbs. We offered to check this before the test, customer said no, and now it's failed on bulbs. It needs a headlamp polish as well. And then once all that's clear, we'll be joining the fight with the Scooby then and see what else needs to be done on that. and then see if we can get it back onto the road mount and see if we can get it moving again. Be better to have 2 ramps, because working on the floor is not the life.
So diverting ever so slightly, we've got the very end of that track is the ring. Obviously the GTR doesn't need a track because it's ready to go. Which ones are going on the track?
Chocolate.
Driving, yeah. Which car is going on the track?
Oh,
Is the GTR going to go round and experience it, or is it just going to be sat there looking pretty?
Or is that going to be decided by whichever one runs best at the end of it?
Sentimental value wise, as much as I would like the silver one to go on there, I don't have any attachment to the green one at all. If the green one,
that screams like, I don't think you're going to make it around, I think you're going to bin it.
if it get, it's not, yeah, okay. Just masking off the van so that I can spray it inside without all the fumes basically going into the workshop, so I can just give it another coat of etch primer and then stop the rest of the van getting covered in overspray. Yeah, when there's nothing in the workshop and there's no customers' cars, that's all right, but we've got customers' vehicles in there now, so I'm going to close the door, fire on some spray paint. But in terms of what we did last night, so Josh did the underside, sanded off a lot of the suspension, Ant did the front slam panel, and then I spent ages trying to upload a short onto the internet. What else have we got to achieve today? So Josh is super keen to do a bit more in the shop blaster. He's taken over what I was doing, so now I've got to find something else to do. Josh kindly took off the arch the other day and it revealed a load of soil which was in our last video. But on here, what I want to do is get rid of all the surface rust there. Basically, most of our videos consist of me talking about rust. That's basically the main project. Even onto here, I'd like to get rid of all the surface rust here. And there's an arch lining which hides, although not going to cause any problems really. Just be nice to know that it's all clean. We've sprayed all of these bolts up ready so that when we need to undo them, hopefully we stand a better chance of them coming loose. Essentially on the front here, where we removed the front slam panel, you can see along here there's more surface rust, and again we still don't know whether we're going to have to replace this until we sand it back and see if there's any major holes, whether the actual structure is compromised, because some of the time it actually looks a lot worse than they are, but on other times you can think, oh, that'll be absolutely fine, and then realize that it's completely rotten. So it could be that we have to get this new part, which will be a case of taking out the headlamps and then drilling out a lot of metal. When do we reckon we're going to get the car from here back over to on the board? I mean, we're now on
So is this on the floor?
day
Yeah,
one.
when it's on the floor, we can go back on the board, because then it'll need a couple of rattle downs.
Yeah, green one does as well. We don't need to stroke it.
Which one?
Green.
No, that is true.
Need to bleed the brakes on it actually probably.
I'm still going to do the rear brakes on it, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We're on like day 30, well, day 40
Yeah,
is a
so
big
the
part of the house.
The silver one will go back on the wall once it's on the floor. When it's had its first rattle down, maybe 30%.
Yeah.
And then they've also both got to go for like half decent road tests.
Yeah.
before there's any chance of us like risking it going to Europe in them.
Yeah.
The interior, we've got some age-related wear and tear on the bolster there as well. So when you get in and out, depending on where the seat is, that's taken 22 years of battering. So there's heavy wear on that. So whether we can get that repaired or whether that whole section needs re-stitching into that would be for a specialist. Whether they just repair that and then they almost put like a fabric paint on it to blend it in. So that bit there, a bit like a paintwork on a car. What we don't want is a nice big patch there and then the rest of it just look like it's out of place because it's old. So that is just on the list of things to do, as well as, I'm not a fan of the blue. I know it matches the door cards and the seats, but I just don't feel like the blue carpet matches. I feel like it would look nicer with a black carpet. You know, it'd be really nice if you could put like the same carpet as you'd have like if you're getting Rolls Royces. That'd be amazing if you could just buy like get someone to make the carpet nice and soft like a fancy house.
I reckon you really mix it up. Get some AstroTurf, put that down instead.
Astros. It definitely lasts. But if you can see here, like I don't know, I'm not 100% sure why the underlay. You can see all the underlay's floppy. Yeah, I mean, there's a chance we could take this out and we could clean it up, tidy it up, and it could look good. It's not wet. It just feels yuck. A quick update to the back as well here. So we've taken out the back seats and that gave us access to the rear strut top mounts. There's like 3 bolts, 3 nuts on the top there to be able to drop out the shock absorber there. So in order to get access to that, we have taken out the whole back seats. In doing so, it's also given us a chance to get in and clean, because what would be nice to do is vacuum that out thoroughly, make that all nice. We're going to have to leave that out if we want to make any headway with the carpet. But over here, went to a bit extreme, but these are the essentially the strut top mount covers. And what I've done is sanded them back to bare metal, edge primed them, and given them just a bit of leftover paint that we had hanging around. So they'll go in there nicely, and it'll feel like when we put all the car back together, all of the bits are nice, even though you will never, ever, ever see this because it's all hidden underneath stuff. But we'll know when we put it back together, we haven't just put in something that's rusty, because I think that's just a bit naff. See how we get on. Nothing to see here.
I laugh if it's the GTR that breaks down rather than...
That's not... not fun. Not funny. I mean, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. And then imagine, no, I'm not going to say this because I don't want to jinx it, touch wood, but imagine if all 3 broke down and all 4 of us are driving to Germany in the back of a car. That would just be horrendous.
This is where
you could have like
the Citroen C2V.
You could have like 3 of the cars just dotted around the country, just left as you go. One gets off the ferry and it's left on the side of the road, and you're like, right, bye now.
Mine might be a problem getting on the ferry. Look how low it is.
No, because you can adjust yours.
Oh no,
Yeah, you're not going to
I'll
that
just send
roadside.
it up. Yeah, I'll just send it up. It'll be fine.
This is why you should have got air.
That's like 2-3 grand.
That's why
We
you
did
should have
look.
got air.
We did look.
Bit of an update on the Subaru then, Joe? Let's have a look. We've been talking about getting the headlamps out for, well, several weeks. And part of that is where someone has just essentially cut into the cables. You can't just disconnect them all. So what I've done is I've just moved it out of the way. Here, I've gone back to bare metal in this entire area, taken all these bits off, painted some of it, etch primed it. You hear an etch primer every single episode, but that's what's the difference between sort of bonding to bare metal and a standard primer. So here, all this has been off, all the nuts and bolts have been into the shot blasting cabinet. As you can see here, this isn't just blown over paint. They've been shot blasted, etch primed, left to cure, paint put on, again, all into the crevices as well. So that's that section there. So transforming something like that into something like that. By doing so, we're giving this a better chance of not rounding off in the future. So if we just leave those ones, so I kind of put the nuts and bolts back in where they were, so I know which one's which and where they go. Prime example of nuts and bolts rounding off, like that one there, inside here, it started to round off where it's seized in. And then again, sand back behind this and then paint, again with all the nuts. I've taken off this horn and put it into the shop blasting cabinet, and that's managed being able to clean up the connector. So if you have a look in there, you'll see the difference between the connector on that one, and then I'm gonna say, if you look at this one will probably be corroded. So you see on there, there's signs of corrosion on that. So we'll take this off as well, clean off all these nuts, get behind that, sand all of this back. Along the way, I've noticed inside here where the power steering bracket is corroded. So that's a good idea. Taking the headlamp off has given me better access to see down inside there. So what I want to do is get the nuts and bolts off of that, take that out, put that in the shop blasting cabinet, and then paint that back again. This goes back to the same thing about not needing to do that. I could leave that in there and the chances are it will never break, but I now know that it's heavily corroded. So a bit like all the other bits that we're doing, there's no point in just leaving it, because then we're driving it away, it'll feel even more better, if that is even a word.
Cool. So what benefits the Sandblaster had? Like, from being
Massive transformation. Is just like, it's quieter in the workshop, so there's less grinding, less wire wheels spinning for hours and hours. It's quicker, the finish as well. When you shop blast in, I think you take away less material as well, but it just eats through all of the rust and all the nuts and bolts that you probably would just end up wire brushing. In all honesty, you probably end up wire brushing them and then just putting them back on, as opposed to with a shop blaster, it's like you put the nuts and bolts in your hand, off, clean.
How long do you reckon it would have taken you to do if you didn't have that?
I'd say it's probably saved us like 75% of the time. So like an hour's job might take us 15 minutes, I reckon, overall. It's saved lots of time. And actually, do you know what's more important? It's fun. It's more fun to do than grinding away like that. Just watching something just like slowly come together, as opposed to just grinding with sparks going everywhere and just not getting completely covered in dust. That's another major bonus, not getting covered in dust all over everywhere.
So with everything that you've done on the car since you last sat down in front of the board, how soon do you reckon it'll be before the car gets back on the road?
That's a tricky question. I'll tell you what, I don't know the answer to that, because it's not something I do day in, day out. If you said how long is it going to fit a set of 4 tyres on a Range Rover, I could give you an accurate time. That's a little bit of a difficult one to know. We were toying with adjustable arms on the back, and it's going to depend on when and if we go with that route or whether we just replace the bushes, because of what we found so far, actually, that's putting us back is getting through to Subaru dealers. It just seems like they don't answer the phone. You could ring like 3 or 4 dealers and they don't reply. So that's holding us back, because we want to get the bushes for the rear arms. That would be the easiest way, to just get the bushes from Subaru, but you're just waiting for phone calls back for them to say, yeah, I can get them. The next step has to be getting the rear suspension built, get the bushes out. We have to use heat, unfortunately, because they're seized in. There's just no other way. We're on a breaker bar, Ant and Josh are on a breaker bar, and the nuts are just going to snap. Where road salt and corrosion's got in, it's just ruined it. So we're going to have to put some heat in some of the bushes, which means they'll be shot, and we'll have to put new bushes in the arms. That's the most important part, is getting a call back from them to rebuild that. But whilst I'm waiting for those phone calls, I'm just cracking on with the rust. Yeah, I'm hoping next week I'll have this bit done and you'll be able to come in, watch the video and see how this has all been transformed completely. That's my goal, and I know Ant and Josh are on the case to try and get the back end rebuilt. And then we can get it in and out, get the headlamp swapped. As you can see, we need to get the cables cut out. And the subframe out as well. Well, I mean, the list is endless. It really is. It's mega.